Welcome once again to Issue Forum, the show hosted by the Illinois Committee for Honest Government, and I am your host, Frank Avila. Today we have a great friend of ours. His name is Rabbi, and sometimes I might mispronounce it. It's a little bit difficult for the American tongue, but Meir Benhiyoun. I call him Rabbi Benchiun, and he is one of the catalysts behind a great project in the city of Chicago by Clark and Chestnut in the downtown, the Gold Coast area of Chicago, where there was an old theater, and it's called the Center for Jewish Life. And we're going to talk about the Center for Jewish Life and how people can participate in it, what it is, and what it's meant to do. I want to thank everybody for watching. This is going to be an exciting program, whether you're Jewish or not. If you're Jewish, you should especially tune in to learn more about this great center, which I believe is the only center of its kind in the Chicago area and certainly in the downtown area. And even if you're not, to learn the heritage of many other religions of the monotheistic tree, so to speak, and a great presence in the Chicagoland area. Rabbi, thank you for being on our show.
It's a pleasure, Frank. Always to see you.
Now, let's get right into it. Where is the Center for Jewish Life?
In the heart of every person. That's exactly it, really. It's the people. It's the individual and the community. And since we are obviously in the physical world, so it has to have an abode, it has to have a place. And that's how it all began, in finding, a piece of land in the area of downtown, because that is our area, to build the facility that will house the Center for Jewish Life. But the center itself is a universal concept, which means that it's not limited to, to a building. We are functioning, as you know.
Right. So, where exactly is the physical location?
No, I'm sure you're not surprised that, you ask a short question to get a long answer. But it's at Clark and Chestnut. There's 1 block north of Chicago Avenue. It's a beautiful location, accessible from everywhere. Clark and Chestnut, it's about 800 north on Clark, 830.
Now, when we came into the show, they did a pan on the photo of the Center for Jewish Life. Maybe we could take a look at that again. The Center for Jewish Life. That is the Center for Jewish Life there. Now, Rabbi, you have a website. Now, that is not that's the artistic rendering of a completed center. It's not.
That's the concept and the dream.
Right. So it's not, if somebody passes Clark and Chestnut today, they're not going to see that.
But you'll see a site that's welcoming it. Obviously, if we have all the necessary funding and so on and so forth, then it can get to that. But we're just finished the foundations.
And now, what is the website? Because I know the website has the exact address, phone number, and your phone number's on the screen right now if somebody wanted to contact you, if they wanted to learn more or participate in some way. What is the website and your phone number?
The website is www.centerforjewishlife.org, and the phone number is 312-427-7770.
Okay. And that's centerforjewishlife.org, and it's 427-7770, and that will be on our screen for most or part of the show. And I encourage you to go visit this website, because it's really an amazing website. And I have to say that Rabbi Benhiyoun is quite visionary, because to get, in this day and age, as you see many great religious institutions, on the Gold Coast there are many. You have Holy Name Cathedral, the Presbyterians have that beautiful cathedral on Michigan Avenue, the Episcopalians have St. John Chrysostom on Dearborn, I believe, or is it State, and beautiful. But they bought these years and years ago. To buy downtown property in this day and age is very difficult. It's not an easy task. But you were saying why you picked downtown. Can you tell us again why downtown?
Well, there's about 4,000 Chabad centers all around the world. Far East, Africa, and obviously in the United States, Europe, Russia, Siberia, everywhere. So typically you're sent to a certain area. By the Lubavitch Chabad, we were sent here in 1987. And our region was the downtown area and the residential part of downtown, to supply services to bring the concept of, spirituality to all for the taking, who is willing to learn and wants to learn. Obviously, it's an age of communication and sharing.
And what are some of the services you offer? Because you said services.
Right.
Is that like bar mitzvah, Hebrew classes, Torah classes? What are some of the services?
24/7 and the whole life cycle of the person, and
the
yearly cycle.
What are some of the parts of the life cycle and the yearly cycle?
On a daily basis, there's classes, there's services. We have prayers. We pray 3 times a day for the Jewish people. We have non-Jews that come to visit. As you know, we don't proselytize, but we do share information of how we can help each other. And people participate in classes and cover the whole array of the revealed part of the Torah and the esoteric part of the Torah. And then there's counseling, a lot of counseling going on for the individual and for the couples, for families. And obviously there is the Sabbath that comes every week, and we have literally maybe 10 scores, 100 sometimes of people that come through our doors on the Sabbath, visitors. And then on a monthly basis there's all sorts of celebrations that we commemorate. Just recently, we had the commemoration of Lag BaOmer, which is an important date in Jewish calendar. So every month there's different dates.
I've had the opportunity, the honor, and the opportunity, and the enjoyment, some good food, to be both at your home and which is also the Habad Center in the Gold Coast. And what is the address there?
It is 1236 North Dearborn. This is where we are now acting in
1236 North Dearborn, right, which is a little bit north of Division.
Just north of Division, about half a block north on the west side of the street. Now,
if anybody is Jewish or wants to visit, but wants to participate in the Sabbath and do the ritual prayers that are done on Friday evening, called davening, I believe. Is that correct?
Davening, yes, praying, yeah.
Praying. Is that what time could they make it to 1236 Dearborn?
The best thing is to really call or to write, to send an email to Chabad@centerforjewishlife.com and ask Yehuda over there to send the schedule. But typically on a Friday at sundown, that's when the action begins of the Sabbath, and it's a very enlightening and beautiful, and you're not only learning but also, as you know, the meals, and there's a lot to learn when the stomach is happy.
Well, and your wife Rivka,
that's right,
is a very fine cook.
She does that too.
Yeah, she's a very fine cook.
But just to be hospitable. That's not obviously her main contribution.
Well, I also, besides Sabbath, which I've had the opportunity to be at your home for, you said there was the Lag BaOmer.
Lag BaOmer, there was, just yesterday.
And I was at a barbecue about a year ago,
that's right,
almost a year ago to the date, where you had a bonfire. And tell us a little bit about that holiday and who came and how people come and the like.
That holiday, we just came yesterday from that holiday. You have to understand, the world has been in a stressed situation, and a person who's in a stressed situation, for example, the whole inside of the person gets shot, and then all you see is things you can relate to immediately on a physical basis. And Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, the great Tannaic scholar, from one of the students of Rabbi Akiva, this is going almost 2,000 years ago, back in the Holy Land. He's the author of the Zohar, the famous composition which became the bedrock of the inner part of the Torah. And this is the day where he passed away, returned to the Creator, and on that day he revealed a tremendous amount of teachings. And it brought to a revolution, literally a revolution till this day, in the world. As you know, a lot of people study Kabbalah and so on. Now, you have to be a little bit careful of, if there is, Kabbalah and there is Kabbalah. Kabbalah, which means that which was received orally in terms of the esoteric part of the Torah. And
the Zohar is the premier book.
That's right. That is really. There were some obviously other things written before.
And Zohar means illumination.
Illumination, splendor, radiance. But it's the commitment of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai and eventually his followers was to bring about a cleansing, an internal cleansing of the person, to allow automatically, just as the cleansing occurs, it allows for a penetration of, a clean, serene, holy and wholesome light, a splendor, so that there is a little bit more enlightenment in the world.
Okay. Well, it's a very nice barbecue. I remember I met one gentleman from Israel who was a wonderful cook. He was making, I know it's in the Middle East, kefta, are they called? Kefta.
Yeah.
And they were very tasty, and other foods and the like, and it's a great experience. And I actually had met a Protestant minister, or some kind of minister, who
he was there?
African American, who I met at the fundraiser, a tall African American gentleman, no beard, he wasn't Jewish, and I was a little bit surprised, and he said he went to Rabbi Benhiyoun to learn the Torah and more information about the Old Testament, which he had been preaching on.
He was there on Saturday night with his wonderful wife. That's Reverend Osmond Malcolm and his wife Nikki. As always, we celebrate. He's actually quoted in a beautiful brochure that we have here. We promote the center and the services. Anybody who's interested in the brochure, obviously we can provide it.
I also noticed in your proposal, which you could see online, that you do have some very tangible services too, or proposal, and I don't know if you have any currently. I know you have the 1236 North Dearborn, but I've also I've seen you blow the shofar, and there's a library over by the Board of Trade building.
That's right.
Could you tell us that address and phone number?
That's our position there at 401 South LaSalle on the 9th floor.
And that's, I believe, south of the
south of Van Buren, south of Jackson.
So south of the train tracks.
That's right. Just south of the train tracks. Just literally south of it on what used to be the Traders Building. 401 South LaSalle, the southeast corner on the 9th floor.
Okay.
It's another station that we have.
And it's a very nice library, and I've seen Rabbi Benhiyoun blow a shofar, which is the ram's horn, the Aramaic word for ram's horn, I believe, and so different services. But I see that you also have some more tangible, maybe we would consider social services, or at least in the works, food. Some kind of catering or restaurant.
Kosher food. I mean, we're every week we're swamped with calls, especially from the visitors, and that's one of the amenities that we're trying to.
Daycare.
That's right, daycare for children's programs, programs for the.
You currently have a daycare program?
We have a preschool.
A preschool, okay.
Yeah.
Because I know when I was at the home, I saw.
It's not exactly a preschool. It is, it is a children's program for the parents that come, to pray, and during the classes, the mothers can drop them off.
So you're going to have a library, bookstore,
that's right.
meditation centers,
mikvahs,
social. Now, tell me what a mikvah is. I don't know if we should go into that in court.
Could be a whole.
That could be a whole story in itself. But you had to pour cement a certain way. And
That's
maybe by analogy for some of our non-Jewish audience to understand similar, I know it's not exactly the same, but just so understand, maybe somebody can think about a Christian baptism, but there's some kind of submersion in the water, is that correct?
Well, that's where it's taken from the Jewish mikveh. I mean, the mikveh is from the beginning of time, which is the idea of immersing in natural water that's untouched by man, straight from the rain. Obviously, it is built in such a way that the person actually immerses in regular water that is sanitized and etc., etc. But it has to be built in a very special way. It is called a monolithic pour, which means it's not made of parts. It projects wholeness, so therefore it has to be built in a certain way in that fashion. And we just finished pouring the women's mikveh and the men's mikveh. Obviously, they're separate. Women immerse themselves once a month. And men, by their choice, could be as often as once, every day.
Okay. Now tell us a little bit more about this. Then you go completely under the water?
Yeah, the idea is to be immersed in natural water from head to toe.
Okay.
That's right. And that is supposed to bring to a purification and to a certain elevation in the person's level of service, of spiritual service, attainment.
Okay. And it goes beyond the list of symbolic, then. There is some kind of esoteric qualities, then, to this submersion?
Plenty.
Okay.
And again, it would deserve its own
TV show, and I hope that Rabbi Benhiyoun will be on our TV show again, and we encourage you to contact us or contact him. One thing I'd like to put in is that this Center for Jewish Life, while it's open to all, I guess would be the equivalent of denominations, and I've met people of all conservative, Reform, Orthodox, different Orthodox schools, perhaps that's the word, as well as non-Jews, even agnostics or people searching, Christians, pastors even that are connecting at some level with one another, is that this is from Chabad, C-H-A-B-A-D.
Yeah, I mean, that's I appreciate that stepstones for the explanation. Lubavitch Chabad, that's the actual name, Lubavitch Chabad. And, you know, that is, I think, what distinguishes us from, let's say, other synagogues or spiritual places, is that we are more of a service organization, an outreach service organization versus some kind of a denomination for its own. It's not an exclusive club. It is giving a product, and it does not recognize labels whatsoever. It started in a city called Lubavitch, which in Russian, it's in Russia, in the Ukraine, which Lubavitch means a city of love. And Chabad is the Hebrew...
And Luba is the Ukrainian, the secular Ukrainian word, right? Is that
it
correct?
Is, yeah,
love.
It's a Ukrainian, Luba, yeah,
Luba.
That's what you say in Russian. You say, Ya lublu tibia, that means I love you.
And there's a lot of young ladies named Luba, actually.
That's right.
It's a very common name.
Which in Hebrew would be Ahuva, which means beloved. So Lubavitch, it was started by 5 families that wanted to go to a place, a new place, without any prejudice whatsoever. And in that place, they would start a community that is based on the love of God, the love of all creation, of all people, and obviously the love of the Torah. And that's the Chabad part. Chabad spells in Hebrew Chachma, Bina, and Da'as, which means wisdom, understanding, and knowledge.
Wisdom, understanding, and knowledge. So Chabad is an acronym.
It's an acronym. It's for the Hebrew words of wisdom, understanding, and knowledge. And it's interesting here you have in one hand a word that signifies love, and the other word signifies intellect. And I think it's that fusion that I think kept us successful, because I think many very worthy movements have started many years ago that were concentrating maybe just on love, but not much intellect, and without a methodical system that would be a vehicle for that love and a vessel to maintain that love on a path, and then to give it expression so that it could express itself and apply itself in many places. Or on the other hand, you would have movements that are purely intellectual and too intellectual to the point that love or affection was taken away completely, and sometimes it would lead to the opposite of love. So we think it has to be love, but with education, and education with love.
Now, to learn more about Chabad, and you could correct me if I'm incorrect on any of the sites, but I have that opportunity. Chabad has a very strong presence on the internet, even beyond the Center for Jewish Life, which I think is linked. And I had met the rabbi when I was away with the army. I was at a fort called Fort Snelling in Minnesota, and I had dinner at the home of Rabbi Shalom Grossbaum.
That's right.
By coincidence,
that's right.
or you don't believe in coincidence, by divine providence, he was the rabbi who oversaw the ritual pouring of the mikvah.
The building of the mikvah, actually. Yes. The whole design of it, he worked very closely. Yes, that was an amazing divine providence. Everything is by divine providence. As the Baal Shem Tov, the founder of Hasidism, said that even a leaf, when it falls off a tree, where it fell and when it fell has to do with the whole scheme of creation and the purpose of the creation and of man's creation in his lifetime. From everything we can draw a lesson, from everything we hear and we see, and there's nothing by accident. Everything is by divine providence.
Well, I know that you have a very good web presence, and one way to find the Center for Jewish Life, or vice versa, is Chabad.org.
Yes, 100%. That's
Chabad, and one thing I noticed is there's also a phone number of a woman, which is very rare, who converted from, I don't know what religion she was before, whose husband was Jewish, to Orthodox Judaism. I won't say her name out of respect for privacy and the like, but there's a phone number where she receives a message, both of the Torah as well as the Tanya, and I believe it's called Parsha.
The Parsha of the week. That's the That's already the Torah itself, the Chumash.
Okay.
Yes.
And the same thing is on Chabad. Some other websites that I find very interesting is one is by Rabbi Yitzhak Ginsburg, who is in Israel. I think Nablus, if I'm not mistaken.
No.
Not in,
No,
okay.
he's in Kfar Chabad, which is Chabad. It's called Kfar Chabad, a Chabad village, a Chabad beautiful little town near Tel Aviv.
Near Tel Aviv, okay. And he's has a students, inner.org, INNER.org, and two other websites. One is from the town of Safat,
Safat, yeah, Tzfat.
where a number of, what I guess we say saints or mystic tzaddiks.
That was the city of the Kabbalists, yeah.
The Kabbalists, including Yitzhak Luria,
Yitzhak Luria.
Arizal, and that is www.kabbalah with an H online.org. And one last one, which is you'll see this show hopefully on the internet as well as cable television, but Rabbi Simon Jacobson, and he is www.meaningfullife.org, and he also, like Rabbi Benhiyoun, has a broad audience of non-Jews, Jews of very disagreeing opinions on different issues, and a radio show that is to a very broad audience. But one thing I was very impressed by, and maybe you could tell us, I was at a fundraiser that had great food. They had sushi, which I didn't even know you had kosher sushi. They had these desserts with fruits and chocolates. It was delicious at the Standard Club, which is an old Jewish club, I believe of German Jews, the turn of the century, and a very nice place. And Meir Daly was there. And can you tell us how supportive Meir Daly's been? I know Meir Daly has a very interesting story about how his sergeant in the army was
That's right.
encouraged him to get involved with Habad and the Lubavitchers, and what a good friend he's been to you.
I mean, the truth is, it was, as you know, we were apolitical, and the connection with Meir Daly was on a personal basis, was a personal one, and it developed, thank God, into a relationship of support and some may say even a friendship. And I think that we both, I came here in 1987, and he came to be the mayor, I think, 1989.
That's a coincidence.
Yeah, and from the first, what we found, I think, that there is an earnest desire to build people, to build homes. Turning neighborhoods alive was the mayor's slogan later on, and then keep and maintain role models in the city so cities don't become deserts, even though they're full of people, but it's devoid. Everybody was moving away from the city, and he wanted to bring back people and to the cities. And you remember the loft started developing over there, and I think we had the same interest. I think the mayor is a person that is indeed very interested in the well-being of a person. Maybe an anecdote in one of the events that we've had, I made a statement that through the teachings and the counseling and so on, I would like to remove all the dead ends from the city. And everybody looked and said, that's illegal. I said, I meant for people, that people should never think that they're at a dead end. There's always a second chance. There's no lost case. A person is never at a dead end. And that's something that we really, I think, contribute a lot to people. Not just oratory, but there is still real methodical teachings from the revealed part of the Torah and from the esoteric part of the Torah that helps a person really bring out of himself and herself untapped resources. On the contrary, because of the very fast life that we live, there's almost like a lid placed on the individual, and we help remove that lid, that dead end, and the person starts flourishing.
And I know that you've done marital counseling.
That's right.
Individual counseling. People, God forbid, but suicide, who have been wanting to kill themselves. Drug counseling, and I, as an anecdote, I talked to a very popular jeweler. I won't say the name again to protect, but a very popular jeweler in Chicago who knew somebody, I think it was even a relative, who was on drugs, and through some kind of Habad, I don't know if it's a rehabilitation program or informal, but that other individual, part of their family, got off drugs. And even though he's Jewish, but not part of Habad, he had always given some money because he felt very grateful for whatever services. So it seems that you, because sometimes I think people might be seeing the show, especially now, and just say, well, Jews are not, or they're not perfect, but oh, they have money, or they're, don't have problems. But you are dealing with people that may are stressed in their lives, or drug problems, or divorce, or whatever else. And I know that you personally counsel people or have programs that have done these things.
Yeah, I mean, some say that it was talking about the Jewish people. And one of the things that people say about the Jews is that they invented psychotherapy, psychology. I don't know, many years ago. But that's because in the old shtetl, in the old little town where we lived, in the old country, it was all around. There was always a spiritual guide, and the community lived around the rabbi, the maggid, the spiritual guide. Just on Lat Ba'omer, we had a couple actually union psychoanalysts that came to that bonfire in honor of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. And it is known that Jung studied Hasidic teachings, Hasidic philosophy. And I just really would like to make that clear disclaimer. There's a complete misunderstanding and misinterpretation or misperception of Chabad. I want to emphasize that Chabad and Lubavitch means anything but extremism or anything but, orthodox in a sense of, God forbid, separating or exclusive. That's why you can see even in the design of the center, we did it in such a way, God willing, we hope to find indeed the funds to complete it. But the design shows a building that's not closing in on people. It's not austere, it's not something, it's inviting, it's water and light. Those are the motifs, not fire and brimstone, but water and light. And Chabad just recognizes all, God created creations, many of them, multitudes of creations, and they're all perfect for what they are. He created them perfect and for what they are. And they are different, and they need each other. And all creations together create, a beautiful tapestry that, strives for that oneness and unity. So the worst thing you want to do is put a label on any creation. Go put a label on a plant and try and let it grow. It won't grow. It won't get the sun. It won't
Unity. That's a topic we got to have. But we're almost out of time, Rabbi. What I would like you to do is one last time give out your website and your phone number.
My pleasure, Frank, and I think you're a wonderful example for all this. I appreciate your invitation to come here. I hope we'll have the opportunity to do more.
Without a doubt.
And again, it is Lubavitch Chabad of the Loop, Gold Coast and Lincoln Park at 312-427-7770. The website is www.centerforjewishlife.org. And you're welcome to pass by at 1236 North Dearborn Parkway, or at 401 South LaSalle, the 9th floor.
I would encourage you to participate if you can. It's a great program, and I think Rabbi Benhiyoun is a great visionary in Chicago. Thank you for watching. Goodbye, and God bless.
Thank you.